Hello everyone, welcome to Election Future. Today, we're going to look at the latest state-level individual polls. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you want more content like this. Starting with the safe Republican states, which we don't need to focus on in this video. Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Alaska, both Dakotas, as well as all of Nebraska except the 2nd Congressional District. These states include Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and South Carolina. For the safe Democratic states, we have California, Washington, Oregon, Illinois, Vermont, Massachusetts, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. These are all the safe Democratic and Republican states that we have already marked on the map. We will be moving from west to east, filling in the individual state polls. According to the latest poll from TIPP Insights, with about 736 likely voters, Kamala Harris has a 1-point lead in Nevada, placing the state in the lean Democratic column for Harris. Moving to Arizona, the latest poll has Donald Trump leading by 1 point, according to Atlas Intel, with nearly 1,000 likely voters. This puts Arizona in the lean Republican column for Trump. Nevada and Arizona have historically voted differently, but in 2020 they voted together when Joe Biden won both states by a few points. However, Nevada has been trending more to the right compared to Arizona, so this cycle, Arizona could vote more to the left than Nevada, or they might vote similarly. Whichever way Nevada goes, I expect Arizona to follow suit and vice versa. Next, we look at Colorado, once a Republican stronghold, now a deep blue Democratic state. The latest Morning Consult poll, with about 512 likely voters, shows a 10-point lead for Kamala Harris, placing Colorado in the likely Democratic column. Historically, Morning Consult's 2020 polling in Colorado was accurate, and I currently forecast a 9-point victory for Harris. While Trump might improve slightly in Colorado, other states will likely see bigger gains for him, as Colorado is now firmly Democratic. In New Mexico, polling has been relatively accurate. The latest Survey USA poll shows an 8-point lead for Kamala Harris, which puts the state in the likely Democratic column. While I currently forecast a closer 3.5-point victory for Harris, the polling suggests a more substantial lead. Texas is another key state with a large number of electoral votes. The latest Emerson College poll, with about 950 likely voters, shows Trump leading by 6 points, placing Texas in the likely Republican column. Texas has maintained its Republican streak since 1976, when Jimmy Carter won the state. Hawaii is an interesting case. While polling is scarce, one recent poll showed Biden with only an 8-point lead in the state. I don't expect Kamala Harris to perform better than Biden, so Hawaii will also go in the likely Democratic column. In Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, Harris is leading by 9 points, according to the latest poll from the New York Times/Siena College, with about 680 likely voters. This puts Nebraska's 2nd District in the likely Democratic column. Now, onto Iowa, which is also fascinating. The latest poll from Selzer and Company suggests a lean margin, but I expect Iowa to lean more Republican than the current polling shows. Selzer's September polling often underestimates the Republican vote, with October results being more accurate. We'll be waiting for that poll soon. Lastly, looking at Minnesota, the latest Survey USA poll, with about 646 likely voters, shows Harris with a 6-point lead. This places Minnesota in the likely Democratic column for now. Going to the state of Wisconsin, this is the next state on the map that we will be filling in. Donald Trump is currently down by 2 percentage points, according to the latest New York Times/Siena College poll, so we will place Wisconsin in the lean Democrat column in this video. Next, we look at Michigan, another important state with a decent number of electoral college votes. The most recent poll shows a tie with likely voters, but the previous poll from Atlas Intel had Trump up by 3 points. Since the latest poll is tied, we will use the previous result and place Michigan in the tilt Republican column for Donald Trump, which helps him in the Electoral College. Moving to Ohio, Trump is up by about 6 percentage points in the latest poll from the New York Times/Siena College. To provide some context, this polling source previously had Biden winning the state by 1 point, while Trump actually won by 8 points, an 8-point error. If we apply that margin to the current 6-point lead, it aligns with my forecast, showing about a 14 or 15-point lead for Trump. I currently project a 16-point win for him in Ohio. For the sake of this video, we will place Ohio in the likely Republican column. Now on to Florida, with 30 electoral college votes at stake. The latest poll shows Trump leading by 1 percentage point, although I doubt this will be the final outcome. For the purposes of this video, however, we will put Florida in the lean Republican column, giving Trump the state's electoral votes. In Georgia, another key battleground, the latest Atlas Intel poll shows Trump with a 1-point lead among roughly 1,200 likely voters. Therefore, we will place Georgia in the lean Republican column, moving Trump closer to the 270 Electoral College votes needed to win. Looking at North Carolina, the latest poll from SSRS, which works with CNN, shows a tie. The previous poll had Harris up by 4 points in a head-to-head matchup, so we will place North Carolina in the tilt Democrat column in this video. Now, let's turn to Virginia. The polls have been somewhat competitive here, but the latest from Emerson College shows Harris leading by 7 points. We will place Virginia in the likely Democrat column. In Pennsylvania, polling is quite interesting. According to the latest poll, Trump is up by 3 points, with nearly 2,000 likely voters surveyed. This will place Pennsylvania in the lean Republican column, giving Trump 279 Electoral College votes in this video. Next, we look at New York. The latest poll from Emerson College, with about 1,000 likely voters, shows Trump down by 14 points, with Harris leading by 14 to 15 points. In Maine, the latest poll shows a 7-point win in the state's 2nd congressional district, a 26-point win in the 1st congressional district, and a 9-point win in the statewide at-large vote. Turning to New Hampshire, the latest poll shows Harris up by 11 points. However, after reweighting the poll, it's closer to a 1-point lead. Historically, polling has overestimated Democratic support in the state, so New Hampshire will go in the likely Democrat column for now. Moving to the Northeastern States, Connecticut's latest poll shows a 16-point lead for Harris, so it will go in the safe Democrat column. Polling here has sometimes underestimated Trump's support. In Delaware, the latest poll from Slingshot Strategies shows a 17-point lead for Harris, so it will also go in the safe Democrat column. New Jersey is another interesting case. While there has been no recent polling, the last available poll showed Trump up by 1 point. We will place New Jersey in the lean Republican column for this video, although I don't expect it to remain there. Lastly, in Rhode Island, the same poll that showed a 16-point lead for Harris in Connecticut shows a 13-point lead in Rhode Island. Since Rhode Island is slightly more liberal than Connecticut, it will go in the likely Democrat column. In this video, Donald Trump wins with 294 Electoral College votes to Kamala Harris's 244. Arizona is next on the list, another tight race from the previous election. However, Kamala Harris doesn't seem to have the momentum to turn it blue. In 2016, Trump won Arizona by nearly 4%, and recent polls from Atlas Intel show him with a 1.2% edge, giving him roughly a 55 to 60% chance of winning. His odds in Arizona look even better than in North Carolina or Georgia. Now, let's turn to Nevada. Trump's numbers here have improved since 2020. Polls had predicted Biden would win Nevada by 5 to 6 points, but in the end, Biden barely outpaced Clinton's 2016 results. While Biden gained ground in many places, Nevada remained mostly static. The state is leaning right, as shown by Republican Joe Lombardo's victory in the 2022 gubernatorial race, where he defeated a sitting Democrat. Trump has a solid chance of capturing a state no Republican has won in 2 decades. I see Nevada as leaning red, with Trump taking it by just over 2 points. Let's shift our focus to the Midwest and examine the key blue wall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These 3 states are among the most critical in the nation right now. Pennsylvania in particular is drawing a lot of attention, as many believe it could be the state that tips the balance in this election. Looking back at the 2016 map, it's clear why Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania carry such weight. Before 2016, these states weren't considered competitive, having voted blue for nearly 30 years until Trump flipped them in his favor 8 years ago. These states delivered Trump the presidency in 2016, and then, in 2020, they swung back to the Democrats, helping Joe Biden secure victory. Biden was predicted to win Pennsylvania by 6 points, Wisconsin by 8, and Michigan by 7. But the actual margins were much narrower. In fact, had Biden lost Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona, all of which he won by less than 0.7%, he would have lost the election. This highlights just how close the 2020 race was. Now, Kamala Harris is polling worse than Biden did 4 years ago. According to the latest Atlas Intel polls, Trump is ahead by 1.5% in Wisconsin, 3.4% in Michigan, and 2.9% in Pennsylvania. That leaves us with 2 tilt states and a single congressional district, all likely to be decided by less than 2 percentage points. Starting with Nebraska's 2nd district, I'm predicting it will go to Trump. Moving up to Minnesota, the only reason I'm placing this state in Kamala Harris's column is that she chose Tim Walz, the current governor, as her running mate. If Biden had remained in the race, I think Trump would have had a solid chance of winning Minnesota, a state that hasn't voted Republican in 52 years. Shifting to Virginia, recent polls suggest the race is tightening, making it highly competitive. At this point, I would classify Virginia as a toss-up. Harris still has a solid shot at holding the state, which hasn't voted Republican since 2004. However, considering her underperformance compared to Biden and Trump's typical late-game polling surge, I'm moving Virginia into the tilt red column for now. Based on the latest projections, Trump is on track to capture as many as 326 electoral votes, leaving Kamala Harris with 212. This would represent the worst performance for a Democratic candidate since 1988. The elections in November will apparently be very exciting. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video, and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next video.